The laughter hit the polished marble floor before he did, sharp and careless, and for a moment it felt like the entire building tilted against one man in a faded blue uniform holding a mop like it was the last thing keeping him upright. Nathan stood there, shoulders slightly hunched from years of carrying more weight than anyone ever noticed, his name badge crooked, his work boots scuffed by endless nights of quiet labor. The conference hall in downtown Chicago glittered with suits, champagne glasses, and confident smiles, and he did not belong there, except that he always did. And as the mocking voices circled him, a strange thought crept into the mind of anyone watching, including you. What if this were you, working 2 jobs, raising a child alone, walking into a room where your worth was measured only by what you wore? Nathan had learned long ago how to make himself small. After his wife passed away from a sudden illness 6 years earlier, life had narrowed into a routine of survival. He worked nights cleaning office buildings, mornings dropping his son Caleb off at school, afternoons catching an hour of sleep before doing it all again. The United States promised opportunity, but it never promised mercy, and Nathan had stopped expecting either. That night, he had been assigned to clean the top floor during a private corporate celebration for a major company anniversary. He moved silently, eyes down, listening to conversations about stock prices and vacations in Aspen, while his own thoughts were filled with grocery lists and overdue bills. Someone noticed him. Someone always did. A comment about how security was getting lazy. Another about how strange it was to see janitorial staff during such an important event. The laughter followed, polite at first, then bold, then cruel. Nathan felt his face burn, not because he believed them, but because he had once dreamed of being more. Before life cracked him open, he had studied accounting at a community college in Ohio, believing he could climb, believing effort mattered. Now, standing there, he wondered if he should just apologize for existing and leave the room. If you were him, exhausted and cornered by shame, would you walk away or stand your ground? That was when Grace stepped forward. She had been standing quietly near the back, a green dress contrasting the gray walls, her hands clenched as she watched the scene unfold. Grace was not loud by nature. She believed strength didn't always announce itself. But something in her chest tightened as she saw the way Nathan's eyes avoided everyone else's, how his grip on the mop tightened like he was bracing for impact. She knew that look. She had seen it years ago in her husband's eyes before the world learned his name. Grace remembered when her husband, Michael, slept on a borrowed couch while building his first startup, when rejection letters piled higher than encouragement. Now he was the CEO of the very company hosting the event, though he was delayed that evening due to a flight issue. The room buzzed with power, yet it was missing the one thing that truly defined leadership, humanity. Grace felt the weight of the moment press against her ribs. If she stayed silent, she would be just another witness who did nothing. The laughter grew louder, and that was when she said it. Not sharply, not angrily, but with a calm clarity that cut through the room like glass. She stated that the man they were mocking was her husband. She said it without raising her voice, without embellishment, and yet the effect was immediate and devastating. The room froze. Conversations died mid-breath. Faces drained of color as people tried to understand what she meant. Nathan looked up, confused, his heart pounding, certain he had misheard. Grace walked to his side and placed her hand on his arm. She explained, still steady, that while Michael was the CEO everyone admired, Nathan was her husband's closest friend, the man who had worked nights to support his son and days helping Michael balance books for free when the company was nothing more than a risky idea. She explained that success did not erase struggle, and titles did not define worth. The silence that followed was heavier than the laughter had been. Nathan's mind raced, memories flooding back of late nights helping Michael draft financial plans, of stepping away when life demanded he choose his son over ambition. He had never told anyone here that part of his story. He had never needed applause. He just needed dignity. Around them, people shifted uncomfortably, shame replacing arrogance. In that moment, something changed. Not just for Nathan, but for everyone who realized how easily they had reduced a human life to a uniform. When Michael finally arrived, the tension was still thick in the air. Grace told him everything. Michael did not speak immediately. He looked at Nathan, his old friend, and then at the room full of people who had forgotten where they came from. He addressed the crowd not with anger, but with disappointment. He spoke about character, about how the janitor everyone laughed at had once kept his dream alive when no one else would. He reminded them that the measure of a company was not profit, but how it treated the invisible. Nathan went home that night changed. Not because his circumstances magically improved overnight, but because something inside him softened. For the first time in years, he felt seen. Weeks later, Michael offered him a formal position, flexible hours, and the chance to finish his degree. Nathan accepted, not out of pride, but out of hope. He wanted his son Caleb to grow up knowing that kindness could rewrite a story. If this moment stirred something in you, if you've ever been judged, overlooked, or underestimated, share in the comments what this story made you feel or what you would have done in Nathan's place. And if this story truly touched your heart, reminded you of the power of compassion, or made you believe in second chances again, please like, comment, share, and subscribe so more stories like this can reach those who need them most.